Hello, everybody. This is Sri from BizBuzz. What matters the most in your business? Sponsored by My Work Belt. My Work Belt is a all-in-one software, particularly catering to small businesses. Today, I have a guest, Craig Andrews. Needs no introduction needed. He is the principal ally at alliesforme.com. They are the masters in high ticket, high trust uh, items that you wanted to sell it. Now, Craig, how are you doing today?
Sri, I'm doing wonderfully. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Craig, we were talking about it about a minute ago regarding the leads and how the leads can be deceiving or challenging uh, because of the false data. But when you take the root cause of it, the false data is coming, if at all any false data is coming, because autofill on the contact form or any lead generation form that usually end users or visitors will have autofill,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What do you suggest and how do we address that in order to receive a? There are two arguments, right? One, you can turn off autofill when you are creating the lead form, right, or landing page. So
Can you?
even if the end users wanted to autofill, you can turn it off, isn't it?
I'm not sure you can because I don't think it's driven by the landing page. I think it's driven by the browser.
Okay. So if it is driven by the browser, you have no control of what the autofill that the visitor have saved in their browser.
Yeah, and so actually, let's kind of back up a couple steps because I think it's really important to get the context.
Yeah.
So, if I'm going, well, for instance, this morning I ordered I'm selling my house,
Hmm.
and one of the window springs is broken,
Yeah.
and so I have to order a new window spring. So I go to a website. I have to create a profile to order the window spring. I can't order it on Amazon because it's kind of a specialty part. And and so I go in and I click on my name, and it automatically pops up something and fills out most of the fields on the page.
Which is what the autofill feature of any browser.
Yeah. And and the reason I use that is because it's convenient and the information's accurate. I mean, I'm actually purchasing something
Yeah.
that I want delivered to my house. This is not even some random web form that I'm filling out because I'm trying to download somebody's free
Right.
guide.
Sometimes that
Uh,
autofill is very inconvenient because it fills up the form in a wrong place and wrong data. But most of the users are got used to it now. They just pick the autofill on the form and populate all the data into the fields.
well, and you bring up a good point. When it puts a piece of data into the wrong field, that's because they designed the page poorly.
That
So
goes back to the landing page designer.
goes back to, but when you use tools like, we do everything in HubSpot.
Hmm.
Um, HubSpot's a premium tool, so when you're designing the forms actually have hidden fields
Right.
that communicate with the browser so that you know that the name field is the name field and the
Hmm.
email address is the email address. And so when it's often I've seen what you're talking about where it puts it puts perhaps the right information but in the wrong field. It just gets things jumbled up. It's always it's always on some page where somebody was not using, kind of top tier software like HubSpot to
Or
design
if
their
they are
forms.
making a mistake on field names, it happens. But let's say if it is right fields, right data goes in.
Right.
But what if the data that actually user was saved wrong
How
in
often
the
does
previous
that
forms,
happen?
right?
How often does that happen?
Well, it doesn't happen often enough, but what the chain reaction that I noticed is if you by mistake, let's say phone number is 10 digits and the last digit is instead of 0, you typed in 9, and autofill automatically saves that data. Every time you're coming next into filling up another form, which happened to be your landing page, it captures the wrong number, isn't it?
That's part of the answer. If it captures the wrong number,
Yes.
let's say if it's phone number, what happens is as you go back, as you fill out more and more forms, the browser's looking for what's the name, what's the email address, and
Mm-hmm.
what's the phone number you use the most.
Correct.
And so I could look into my history and I could pull out ones that are just, not accurate because they're from way back when.
In
Um,
in the browser, within the context of end user or a person who is filling up the form, if they are technically savvy enough, they can go back and they can correct the data, and then going forward, it will fill up the right data. But on
well,
the
I'm saying they don't have to. I'm saying they don't have to because anybody that's filled out a form at some point has put bad data in there.
yes,
Okay. But then the next time they go and fill out a form, let's say that, like um, a lot of, um, a lot of forms require, like specific formatting. Like you
mm-hmm.
can't enter, you can't enter an improperly formatted email address. You can enter a
Correct.
wrong email address, but not an improperly formatted email
That's
address.
correct. That's correct.
And so what I'm saying is they don't have to be technically savvy. It's a natural process that as they go about their day and they're ordering something, they're
Mm-hmm.
ordering
Are
something
they
to have
making an
delivered to their
inquiry?
house.
Yeah.
The browsers are looking for the information that you use most consistently.
Okay. Yeah.
So when I looked at, before we hit record, I showed you I had like a
Mm-hmm.
whole list of things.
Correct.
Well, when you look down the lower on the list on the autofill data,
Yeah.
it's ones I don't use much.
Much. Uh-huh. So even that autofill options are being sorted depends on how often you're using them.
Right.
So the browsers have become so intelligent enough to understand what is the valuable data, which is first name, last name, that is going into the many, many forms that you will be using. Second one is what data you are often using. So it is actually giving the option. First option is the most used option of the data pockets, and the second option is the least used, and so on and so forth.
And I would say here's where it's valuable. And I would say that this is something that if you're a marketer or you're trying to generate leads for your business, this is something you want. Um, the so on the form that we usually use with our clients, we have phone number as a field, but we don't require it as a
Yeah,
field.
yeah, yes.
And so when people hit the autofill,
Mm-hmm. It automatically fills up even if you're not required.
right. And we can actually see that. So we use software called um, Clarity that records sessions, actually
Mm-hmm.
records people visiting the site, and we can actually see it where all of a sudden all the fields will go from empty to all the fields will be full, just like that. And
Yes,
so when we see that, we know that that was an auto-filled form.
that is correct.
And then we can look at the behavior to see if we're dealing with a bot because human behavior, scrolls back and forth on the page and looks at
Mm-hmm.
things, whereas bot behavior does not. So Shrey, I don't know if I've answered your question. Obviously, people enter corrupt data into forms all the time, even when they
Yes.
don't intend to. But as a marketer, I would rather have people using the autofill feature because I believe the probability of getting accurate data is higher than not using autofill.
That's actually a great point you're bringing, Craig, because these browsers and software tools have become so smart that they are consistently learning your behavior as a user. And they're consistently molding themselves to make it easy for you to use these software tools, right? And the
Yeah.
browsers particularly. Now, as a marketer, as somebody who is wanting to generate the leads or create more sale for your business, you wanted to go in flow with these software tools or browsers that are creating. Going opposite would be this very disastrous for your efforts in generating the leads,
Yes.
right? Great. Thank you very much. That is a great point and often not taken as valid as it should be. But it is very important that little things do matter, and we need to make these little things correct. So we have optimal use and optimal results for the dollar that we are investing in both sales and marketing and business development process.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. And if anybody listening here, be aware of your forms that you are creating in order on a landing page. Make sure those labels are correct and the form is autofill friendly, for a lack of better word. So that way you can get the most accurate data and make it more convenient for the visitors. I wish you all the best and hope to see you again in next episode. Thank you, Craig.
Thank you, Sri.